What's up guys, my name is Naru Samurai here, bringing you Path of the Lightning Vanquisher. Hope you all enjoy. So I actually want to take a moment and apologize to all you guys. So I know I've been taking my time uploading. It's because I'm still making templates of everything on Premiere and trying to make sure like my content looks good for y'all, and as well as think of new ideas that I want to focus on. So it's just a lot of Photoshop, Premiere, After Effects, things like that I'm working on at the same time, and I've been kind of slow on putting out videos. But I think the plan is with Overdress, I'm going to be doing a new type of content instead of man versus, but it's going to be the same concept at the end of the day, but that's going to require more technical stuff that I can't talk to about right now. But overall, let's get into the video. So let's start off with Vanquisher's lore. So guys, we're going to go into Dragonic Vanquisher. Now a little side note, this will be the shortest lore for Path of the Lightning, since our only thing we're going to be talking about is Dragonic Vanquisher himself. So overall, hope you enjoy, and let's get into it. Dragonic Vanquisher. He is one of the commanders of Narukami, one of the two prominent major forces of the Empire, which are Kagero and Narukami. This warrior earned his reputation and his title of Vanquisher by annihilating a large battalion of invaders single-handedly. Now, with his fame, he became a commander leading hundreds of soldiers. He doesn't believe that warriors are found in the battlefield, but raised to be part of the battlefield. Might should only be unleashed for the sole purpose of opening a path one should advance. His speeches embodied each one of his warriors to lead on and not be the path of war, but the path of the conquerors. So now we're going into more of the deck profile here, guys, and I'm gonna be honest, this was kind of like one of the fun decks to be working on and building. It focused on a lot of multi-attacking in here, and I think showed like what Narukami has become in V series. So let's get on with it. So we got our one and only sole user, stayed with us for 2 sets alone, Dragonic Vanquisher. If you guys don't know what Dragonic Vanquisher is, his skill is during your turn, if the total of 3 or more of any player's cards are bound at this turn, all of your front row units gain plus 10k. Then his second skill is Counterblast 1, choose one of any player's front row rear guards and bind it. If your soul has a grade 3, your opponent chooses a card from his or her hand and binds it. You and your opponent will be choosing that ability, and it's actually not that bad of a cost, because you have cards that say when bound you can call them to the field, so you can use those cards instead of wasting material that you would want to keep in your hand. Now continuing, he is going to be your main grade 3, like you're always going to end up riding him. After going to full bronze, you're going to go back to him, and overall he's a solid card because he gives that plus 10k power to your front row, which in most cases means if they pull a defensive trigger, you're still in the clear to keep attacking for that turn. Now our next card is the one, the only Dragonic Vanquisher, Full Bronto. Guys, you know Vanquisher had to evolve, but this time not one of our old evolutions like VMAX, Voltage, or V-Buster, but we got the one, the only Full Bronto. Now, if you don't know what Full Bronto is, his skill is, this unit is regarded as Dragonic Vanquisher, which is awesome, which means anything that requires a Dragonic Vanquisher Vanguard can still activate because of his skill. His second skill is, when in place, all of your front row units gains plus 10k. Not to confuse this, because of his last skill, which lets him ride him over Vanquisher, they do not gain an additional plus 10k. They only gain 10k, which means that once you ride Dragonic Vanquisher over him, everybody will be losing the 10k and then regaining the 10k because of Full Bronto. Now going into his last skill, which is the Superior Ride. When bounded from your hand during your turn, if your Vanguard is Dragonic Vanquisher, discard a card from your hand, write it as stand, and this unit gets Drive -1. Now this is really good because you do bind during battle phase, and these are the cards you would like to activate to bind him so you can get an additional attack with your Vanguard. Now going into this, it's a little wonky in a sense, but I'll talk more about that later. Next, we run 4 Jaggy Shot Dragoon. Now, guys, I know what you guys want to say. Jagisada is the better card in the grade 3 lineups because he's the best rearguard use that you want to use, and you know what? I agree with you. His skill is when this unit attacks a Vanguard, bind a card from your hand, choose one of your opponent's front row rearguards and bind it. If your opponent's front row has no rearguards, you draw a card. Solid card. Does not require Vanquisher for the first part, so if you end up having to ride Jaggy, you can pull some shenanigans to keep drawing cards or replacing the cards you have in hand. Now, worrying about the front row, don't worry about it. It's kind of easy for Narukami to get rid of the front row. If you're fighting Protect or Force, you're already popping the two instantaneously. Excel could be a little bit of a challenge, but most of the time nowadays Excel units disappear at the end of the turn, so you may not have to deal with that many units in the front row. Now, his second skill is at the end of battle, it attacked. If you have a Vanguard Dragonic Vanquisher, put this unit in your soul and draw a card. So at the end of the day, after binding a card from hand to draw a card, you can put him into your soul and draw a card, which means overall calling him to the field is a +0. You don't lose a card from hand because at the end you will be plussing. Now on to grade 2s, we are running 2 of Fiendish Sword Eradicator Cholo. Yes guys, we decided to run Cholo in here. I know in some decks they're kicking Cholo out, running the Rock Climb and Voltec Shredder, but I still like Cholo and I still want to incorporate him in the deck. It's a personal touch in my opinion. Now Cholo's skill, if you are unaware, is one place, counterblast 1, choose a column, bind one of your opponent's front row rearguards in that column, and you may move a rearguard from the back column up to the front row rear circle. This is kind of a skill that you would use against a clan that has things that you want to move up. This also kind of sets you up for your Rising Phoenix turns because you know your opponent can intercept with their 2s, but if the back row has a 1, take advantage of it and move the 1 to the front so you can bind it. And next, his second skill is at the end of battle, your Vanguard attack. If your opponent's front row has no rearguards, counterblast 1 and stand it. So before using this with Vanquisher, you would attack with Cholo first, but in this case, you may want to give Cholo triggers, then re-ride, attack with Cholo, and then attack with your second Vanguard and activate his skill. The reason for this is if you were to pull a critical, Cholo will be attacking twice with that critical, and you want to take full advantage of Cholo. Now, the reason why he's at 2 and not at 4 since the restriction is because there's more cards you want to run in this deck to make it more consistent, and Cholo is just overall one of those techie cards that you want to throw your opponent off with. Kind of similar to how you say Martial Arts Dragon in my Vermilion build. Alright, now onto our second grade 2. We are running 3 Rock Climb Dragons. The reason we're running Rock Climb Dragon, he is our new grade 2 coming into the deck after VBT 12. And the reason we're running him is to be a pseudo Voltec Shredder / Jaggy Shot. We are actually running Voltec Shredder at 3, Rock Climb at 3, and Jaggy Shot at 4 to make a total of 10 cards that can bind from hand. This is overall for the multi-attacking purposes. And I think 10's enough, guys. I don't think you need 12 or 15. I know some of y'all want to run 4 of each card, but it gets a little excessive, and you kind of notice that even though you're running these cards, you're actually hurting yourself by almost decking out. But Rock Climb. So Rock Climb skill is at the end of battle, it attacked. If your Vanguard is Dragonic Vanquisher, retire this unit, draw a card, and bind a card from your hand. Choose one of your opponent's front row rearguards and bind it. Now, I don't know if you would get the front row rearguard bind because so much is already happening in that turn. Also, it happens at the end of turn, so most of your opponents may be aware of that and intercept. But overall, you get to bind a card from your hand and replace it by drawing a card. In my opinion, this is a great card to have. You're not losing anything. You're drawing a card, you're buying a card from hand, you're pretty much filtering cards out of your hand that are units you want to call out with maybe guardable power for the end of your turn. Again, another Voltec Shredder clone and a perfect add to the deck. Next is Voltec Shredder. Now, I did kind of say clone on Rock Climb, but Voltec Shredder does activate when he attacks and not at the end of the battle. So they're slightly different, but overall completing the same goal. Now, Voltec Shredder is when it attacks, if your Vanguard is Draconic Vanquisher, you can Soul Blast 1, draw a card, and bind a card from your hand. The original card that did almost the same thing as Rockline. And now, again, these are going to be used for Chain Bolt, Chatura, and that's it. Yep, we're only using it for Chain Bolt and Chatura. Now, there is a Desert Gunner, but we're not going to talk about or be using the Desert Gunner in this deck build. Now, because we were talking about Chatura, we run 4 Chatura. Yes, so we're maxing out the Chatura. He's an awesome card. He's really good. If you don't know what he does, I'm going to tell you right now. So, when an attack hits a Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 1, draw a card, choose one of your opponent's front or rear guards, and bind it. Then, if this card was bounded from your hand, you may call to rear circle. If you call this unit, he gains plus 10k. Now, you guys must be thinking, oh, you get to draw a card, and no, you don't. It's the sad truth. This is a make your opponent guard card. Your opponent does not want you drawing any more than you have to, so if they can limit the amount that you draw, they will. All right, so this is just a heavy beater to make your opponent guard so you don't draw a card. Now, if you do and your opponent lets it hit, then they're out of their mind. All right, end of story. They're crazy. All right, this is mainly when I attack, please guard this attack. All right, now a draw is perfect, it's awesome, and it pretty much means you gain the game at that point. Well, not gonna, well, all right, I'm getting ahead of myself, but it does increase your chances of being able to guard your following opponent's turn's attacks. But overall, that's what he's there for. Now onto grade 1s. So to start us off for grade 1s, you guys are wondering, I know, how many chickens are you running? I saw in the last post that you guys didn't see any chickens, and I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, but we're running 2 chickens. All right, yeah, we're running 2 Rising Phoenix. I don't think I want to say it's skill, but when something's bounded on your opponent's side, call him to rear circle, he gains plus 3k from drop zone. All right, so call from drop zone to rear circle. Easy day. So we're only running 2 Phoenixes. The reason why is we already got a lot of multi-attacking happening. We are trying to make enough space for our Voltec Shredder, our Rock Climb, our Mighty Bolt, our Chain Bolt, our Chaturas, and there's a lot of this coming in, and we also got 3 more grade 3s coming to the deck that we had to cut something, and unfortunately it had to be Rising Phoenix. Now, Rising Phoenix is a solid card, you can get more attacks, and this is kind of the reason. Now, if you guys notice, I did run Chatura at 2 and Rising Phoenix at 2. The reason for this is for those purposes. Chatura could get another Rising Phoenix attack in, which means not only is he attacking twice, but he could call a Rising Phoenix to the field. Or I can bind something using another rear guard because I moved the 1 up, so the 1's available to bind to call Rising Phoenix. Now onto our next grade 1, we got 4 Chain Bolt Dragoon, might be. Next we got 4 Chain Bolt Dragoon. His skill is when placed, look at 7 cards on the top of your deck. His skill is when placed on Vanguard Circle, look at 7 cards on the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 card with Vanquisher and Incarnate from among them, and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. When bound from hand during your turn, you may call this card to rear circle. That's his rear guard skill. Overall, the same thing as the Desert Gunner, but the reason we're running him instead is that the Desert Gunner would soul charge, and we kind of are already having a lot of soul already. So including more soul charging seems counterproductive because we're now drawing a lot, and if we soul charge as well, we're just worse than a Great Nature player, not gonna lie. But overall, solid card. He also top 7s for your Vanquisher, so if you're missing one of them, you can most likely get it. I have hit or misses with this, and I don't know if you guys saw my top deck hero game, but you guys see my drive checks, all right? So expect me to miss it on man versus, not gonna lie. Now our last grade 1 is for Mighty Bolt Dragoon. He has a continuous skill as if something's bound this turn, he gains plus 5k, and when placed on Vanguard or Rearguard Circle, check top 5 for grade 3, add it to your hand, and if you added a card to your hand, discard 1 card from your hand. He is our grade 3 searcher, looking for Jaggy, Vanquisher, Full Bronto, or Vanquisher if I still haven't pulled him yet, or if I wasn't able to get a chain bolt into my hand, he can be my Vanguard, right? Overall, his main purposes, that's pretty much all he's going to be doing. And that's pretty much it, guys. Now, our starter again, Spark Kid Dragoon, my boy. I'll only replace him if they ever gave us Linchu, not gonna lie. Now for triggers, I know you guys are kind of wondering what my trigger lineup is. We got 6 draw, 4 of them being the P-Guard draw trigger, and 6 crit, as well as 4 heals. So a very simple 6-6 lineup. I'm not doing front in this deck since I'm already getting 10k to the front row, and this is a more of a push comes to shove kind of deck, because I will be popping off a lot earlier than most others. So if I'll be going first, I'm actually getting the 10k on my first turn. If I was going second, I'll be pulling off a regular turn if I don't have a grade 3 already in my soul. So overall, it's a plus either way with full Bronto, but you need to also get full Bronto. Thank you guys for coming to today's video, and now I'm going to announce to you guys who we'll be fighting for man versus. Now, if you guys looked before, we fought Vermilion against Dauntless Stripe Dragon against Top Deck Heroes Philip. Now this time we're going to be fighting Alex from Top Deck Heroes with a best of 3 triple deck format with Alex. Now, I mean best of 3, I mean that we're going to seeing out of these 3 decks, we're going to only play 1 game each of each deck, so we're not going to be doing best of 3 with Vermilion against whatever he's playing and then say that deck won. No, that's way too much. That's like a total of what, like 9 games? Like, that's not happening. But we are going to be going in and uploading in separate videos, so we may do a few in his, 1 in mine, or split it up into 3 videos entirely, or how many matches we have to do if it's ending up being 5 videos. But other than that, thank you so much for coming in. If you like this content, please subscribe and leave a like down below, and also comment your opinion on it, because I am kind of working on new ideas every day, so any feedback and all will work. Also, you guys like my markers that I revealed in the last proxy play, so I will be making a Google Drive or a Discord link where all those templates will be available, so please check out on both until I post them. But other than that, thank you so much for coming by, and hope to see you next time in the dojo. Peace.